Oh my God. No. I hate it when this does this. What the heck? Oh, okay. I think I cannot record it while I'm sharing the screen on the Discord. That's fun. Let me do something. Oh my God. I'll re-record it later tonight, so it's gonna be fine. Okay, guys. Hey, so just a little bit about me if you guys don't know me, right? So my name is Neal. So I worked as a data scientist for full time and do the trading for the fun on the part time to blow my money that I earn it. And on the side quest, I started working on this algorithm thing, and it's been a fun ride lately, right? So and I know so Beach Bomb has been here for a while. As far as I remember, you guys just doing it a while back, right? So without without delaying it, so do you guys have any question how to use the indicator or how to access it? Anyone?
I just got access to it, so first time opening it.
Okay.
TV.
So cool. So I'll just give you an overview what an actual indicator is, right? So basically, I have a five sets of indicator. As of right now, it's a four, and I'm still optimizing the Bowery Sniper. But let me take this out. Right. So I normally does not use a momentum at all right now because of its own pros and cons. But here's the thing. So first indicator that we're gonna go through is PPAVD, right? So the PPA, let me start with the MSTR. Someone was asking MSTR. So here's the thing. So the PPAVD insert is a volumetric order analysis that I have created, right? So that can segregate the buying and selling of the behind the scenario thing, right? And it helps to dissect. Okay, so how much of buyers and sellers are actually present over there, right? So that we can actually know that what would be the demand zone or what would be the supply zone. For example, in the MSTR, right? So you could clearly see. So there is like 310.292 million. That represents the 100%, right? So that means so there is like 310 million shares that is ready to be traded out there, right? And that represents the 100% of a sellers over there. So that means if we retest that zone, right, then we're gonna come down. So we're gonna come down. We're gonna come down, and we're gonna come down until we find a certain level of buyers stepping in, right? So I always say that when you are creating a biasness in the market, you start with the higher time frame, then look for entry on the lower time frame, right? So if I was so without any counts that I normally do, or without any technical analysis, without what we do, right? So if we are just using it based on the indicator that we have right now, only using the PPAVD, right? I would say so. I would draw a conclusion like this, right? So the MSTR has a capability of marching toward 470 to 470 to 530 zone, right? And on that zone, there's a high probability that it can get rejected because when there is a presence of 100% of block, that means we're gonna get a huge rejection every time, right? Or it needs to be flipped out so that that supply can be changed into demand zone and we can squeeze it much more harder to the upside. So that's how you can interpret it, right? So now let's dissect into the lower time frame. Let's go with the 4A, right? So you could clearly see, right? So so let me do the replay over here to make everyone understand, right? So we got rejected over here, and then after another candle formation, right? So still we're rejecting it. Yep. And now we could clearly see. So on this week, on this week we could clearly see, hey, so there is like 266 million volume residing over here, and every time when we try to touch it, we are coming it down, right? So that means a huge rejection is coming it out. So now one of the things that what we need to note is if we're playing to the downside based on this, right? We need to label it out. Okay, so are we getting any buyers or say buyers is stepping in, right? So if you guys understand what auction theory is in the market, right? So there is always a competition between the buyers and sellers, and one tends to win most of the time, right? So based upon the gap that the buyers or the seller can create, right? So one of the party will win it eventually, right? So if I see that, right, if I don't know the technical analysis and if I was just playing based on this indicator, I say that okay, so every time it tests over here, I'm gonna shut it down, right? So that would be my first bias if I was looking at the 4 day, right? And then let's say if I'm just shorting it over here, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait until the buyer steps in. So it might take a while because the way that this block works is like if you are using the higher time frame for the swing trading, right? You need a patience for that one. You can still use this thing in the lower time frame as well. I'm gonna show you in a while, but as of right now, we're focusing on the 4 day, right? So let's say we need a buyer stepping in with the confirmation to see that okay, so we gonna bounce it higher. So let's say still there is no presence of buyer. Now see, so we got like more sale volume over here, 104 million, right? So either we're gonna get rejected so hard from here, or this gonna get flipped out, and this gonna change into the demand zone. Let's say, see here, that sale zone has been absorbed out, right? So if it has not been absorbed out, it would be like this over here at the top, but it has been absorbed out. Now that sale zone has been gone, right? So there is a strong possibility that we might not get the nice downward move from here because that's where sale zone has been absorbed out by this candle, right? So let's see. Now we need to get a buyer confirmation to make sure that we need to jump in to the upside. Yep. So it was late, but if we track it down on let me go on daily, we might have gotten early over here. Yep. So on that drop from here to here, so there are no any buyers that was stepping in. But if we have dissected that on the lower time frame, we could have clearly see there were buyers stepping in with the 38 million and 24 million. So basically, the percentage represents that hey, so the buyers are winning it by 29 more percentage than the seller. So that means there's a high probability of market getting or the MSTR getting bounced from here, right? So that's how it works in a nutshell. So it will give you a number of a buyers and sellers stepping in the system, right? So that can give you an access to okay. So this is where we're gonna buy and this is where we're gonna sell, right? So it will give you an extra hands of confluence where you can drive you can make sure that okay, so I'll be stepping here and I'll be stepping out, right? But one other thing that you need to make sure is that before entering, right? So you need to make sure there's a confirmation. Most of the time if there are no any confirmation, then there might be a scenario where the buyers or sellers get absorbed it, right? So I always preach about few things, right? So always buy a time when you are in option so that you can have a levi to play it on your side. Always wait for the confirmation. If you're using the algo or if you're using just your own technical analysis, always wait for the confirmation. So in this case as well, you can use the confirmation. A close below the volumetric block or the retest of the volumetric block can give you the confirmation to shut it down, right? So that will be my that. So that's how it works in a nutshell. What the PPAVD is, right? So if I'm looking at the MSTR, I think right technically, I think it's ready for the pullback because there are a few things, right? So on my Ilya wave cycle, the BTC is ready to come down. So does all the market, and so does the MSTR. But if we are just looking on normal technical analysis, I think we might have like $100 move left on it if we get it right. So that's my standing on MSTR, just using this one indicator, right? So, do you guys have any question or concern about PPAVD? Anyone? So that's for the swing side, right? So now let me show you on the short term, or let's say if you guys are only interested on the day trading side, right? So as of right now, I'm just focusing on one specific indicator, not on all the indicators. So let me just show you this thing on MSTR, or let me do, yeah, MSTR, right? So for the algorithm, or for the algo that I have created, right? So I always preach about using certain time frame. So if you're doing the scalping, right, like a future, use 1 minute, or if you're just holding it the future account for like 2 or 3 minutes, play only, use 1 minute, because 1 minute will show you so much of move on the future, right? But if you are doing the option trading, for the day trading, I always recommend everyone to use for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and 15 minutes, because 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and 15 minutes are where the magic is. Because that's so when I was backtesting and when I was developing all this algo thing, so I had the most consistency win, and I had the most consistent data over those time frame for the day trading, right? I'm going to show you in a while about that as well. So in terms of PPAVD for the day trading, right? You could clearly see over here. So let me do this, right? So if you're just using, let's say, 15 minutes time frame using this and without using any technical analysis, right? So you would be starting it over here, and you would be start all the way to the down until we got this, right? So if I was using this thing, right? So what I would do, I would do this, right? So I will highlight the candle, right? That where specific volume appears in, right? Where the indicator shows that volume. So I can have a biasness set up. Okay, so if this zone has been flipped out, right? So if we retest it over here again and again, again and again, so that means that zone is weak, right? So if a demand zone is tested out, let's say for 5 or 6 times, right? So that demand zone will not be fresh anymore. And if in that case, that demand zone can be breached out if there is a little bit of more sellers present when we're testing it out, right? So if I was just trading using that concept of demand and supply, right? So it need to be strong, it does not have to be tested out so many times to get a nice impact, right? So I would highlight out this zone, like over here. And then what I'm gonna do is, so let me do this. I'll put it just over here, right? So there is that. So then I will just put it over here. Another thing, right? So I will set it with the stop loss above 426, right? With the 419 entry, right? The close of any close of these ranges, right? So let me just start one thing, right? Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a buy order over here. So basically, right? So I'm gonna, let me do this. Where is it? Mm, come on. Yep. Right. So I'm gonna intro over here, right? And I'm gonna I'm gonna stop over. Or I'm gonna buy it back over here, right? So that means, so my risk and reward is like one is to one point one eight, right? So that means if I put $1, I'm gonna make, if it come to the downside, if I make the $100, I'm gonna make around like $118 on it, right? And if not, I'll be losing around like 964 on it, on the $1,000, or let no 375 on the $1,000, right? So it's like it's a good RR for me, right? So let's see how it reacts on that one. So right, I so one of the things that I'll be doing is I will not be buying this until and unless, right, so it tested out this zone, or we get the new buyer stepping in with the new volumetric block on it, right? So that would be a good way to play it out. So let's say, See here. So the buyers step in. So the buyers uh, okay. So the buyers step in, right? So the buyers step in with the 294.889K volume, right? So that means so we got to sell off from here with the 1.1 million, right? So that represents the 10% on it. But we only get the buyer with 294.89. So that means sellers are increasing, right? So the number of sellers on that block that where we get sold off is high rather than the buyers that is stepped in, right? So if we do the math or if we understand the auction theory, right? So we will make sure that okay, so this band's gonna get sorted out, right? So I'll just stay in that position to see how it reacts. See here, now I got over here, right? I will just close down my position over here because this over here, if you could see, right? So let me do this. I'll just flatten it out and I'll take this out. Yep, if you see, right? So we got sold off with 1.1 million. That represents the 10%, right? And we are coming into the zone where there is like 1.147 million, right? So that means buyers are strong over in this zone. So we might get a bounce, right? So if I'm just day trading it, I'll just take it out. But there might be a scenario where we're gonna test it a few more times, and then this zone gonna get weak, and we're gonna come down all the way back over here. That might be the one scenario. Or another scenario is we might just come down by just taking all these buyers out, right? So let's see how that goes. Yep. See here that we took out that zone and we came all the way to the down here. So if I was day trading it, right, I would not bet on losing 4 or 6 because I could see that there's a huge buyer sitting it in, right? But if someone has a gut, then they can do it because I love my money. So I take money when I see the profit, right? So that's how you can use it for the day trading as well. And also one of the thing I'm using the 15 minutes, right? So you can use the 5 more minutes or 7 more minutes if you think that you can hold it for a for a long time for the day trading. Then that would be much more easier for you as well. But for me, I don't understand the smaller time frame, and I don't like looking at the smaller time frame while trading it, right? Like Sena does, he take a look on 30-second start. So that's not me. So I normally take a look on 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and 15 minutes and higher for day trading. That's that's how I do it, right? So if I was just looking at the 5 minutes, right, I would start over here, then I will restart over here because I could clearly see there is like a huge seller stepping in, right? So let's say it's retested out. We are seeing the rejection, right? But it has been retested so many times that supply zone has been observed out, right? So now we are seeing a buyers over here. That label needs to be claimed, otherwise these buyers will be turned down into the suppliers, and we're gonna come down back again. So this needs to be flipped out ASAP. If I was just day trading it, right? See here, we could not do it. Now it's coming down. The buyer has been vanished, and so always wait for the confirmation. Don't jump in as soon as you see the auto block, right? So on this scenario as well, into this, right? On this scenario as well, right? So you guys something. Yep, on this scenario, right? So this block shows you this block, right? This block shows you the confirmation, or this block shows you there is a buy, right? But we need to wait until the retest happen. And if we are able to hold the retest, then that's a good zone to buy it, right? So never buy on the impulsive move. Always buy on the retest. That will give you the most profit amount, either in the swing trading or the day trading. That's a way to go, right? So here we are in the retest zone now. If we hold the next few candles over to this zone, then I'll be longing it, right? So if not, then it's gone. We're gonna retest it. We're gonna retest it. So obviously, I would take a long over here, but I think I will be stepped out on this one, based on what we are looking at it, right? So See here, so this zone has been retested so many times, right? So when I was saying earlier, if that happens, then the demand zone is weakened out. So if we flush it out, so that thing gonna get wiped out so badly. So if I was longing based on that confirmation thing, right? So I will be longing over here on 406, but I'll be stopping out as soon as we close down on 405 on this one for day trading. So that will minimize your loss on this one. But if we just hold it without any confirmation, right? So then we're gonna lose the money on this one. So do you guys have any question on PPAVD? If not, I'll jump on another indicator. Anyone?
Are you always just using regular trading hours, or do you ever use the extended trading hours, Neil, for like longer swings? I guess.
So for the swing trading, right? So I use the extended trading hours because it gives me much more information, right? So for example, if so when I do the swing trading, those are based upon 4 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours, and higher time frame, right? And if I'm tracking it, right? So for 4 hours, 6 hours, and 12 hours, there is an extended trading hour data that I can take a look at. So that will give me an extra influence or extra confluence when I'm building the position, right? So let me show you guys something. So over here on 4 hour, right? On 4 hour, I'm just using the regular trading hour. I could clearly see there is a huge seller stepping in on the MSTR, right? But if I use the extended trading hour, I could clearly see the more granular data that can show okay. So regardless, right? So I can see more granular data that can give me more confidence while building my position on it. So that's how we use it.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah. One more example that I was looking at is see here the DKNG, right? So if you clearly see on regular trading hour, right? So we could clearly see, hey, it's coming to the zone where there is a huge seller or a huge buyer stepping in, right? That represents the 14.26 million, right? And that the buyers are winning by 37%, right? So it's a 4 hour time frame. That's a bigger time frame for the swing, right? But what I normally do is I switch it to the extended trading hour, then I could clearly see the example, right? So we got rejected over here with the 5 million on that week, right? Then we got another 4 million over here. So that means we got almost like 10 millions over 10 millions of the shares over here, right? That has been sorted out. So now on the extended trading hour, I could clearly see it's like, hey, so there is a 12.54 million that is still sitting it over here, right? So that will give me a confluence. Okay. So not only that, so right, we need to when we bounce it, we need to take out this zone 37.50. Only then it will be a good swing to the upside around like 38 and 39, right? So that would be my first key to build the biasness, and that's how I use it for the swing trading. So one of the example or one more example I can show is this, right? So if you guys remember, I have opened a shirt on QBTS, right? And people were panicking on Friday because it was up like 11% or something like that, right? And so I could clearly see on daily, right? On daily, so no, it wasn't daily. Yeah, on daily we're near to the 100%, right? So that's a zone where we get the shirt most of the time. And beside the indicator also, we could clearly see we're near to the zone where there is right. So this is the zone, right? So this is the zone where the QBTS was halted for a while in 2022 before coming down to penny stocks, right? So that was so based upon the technical analysis, so that's what I was looking at it, right? So for extra added confluence, I use the PPAVD, right? So I was tracking on weekly as well, right? So there were none on weekly, but when I was looking on 40, I could see 100%. On 3D, I could see there is none, right? On daily, there is 100%. And then here comes the fun part. Why I held through that pump is because of I think there was on 12 hours or 6 hours. I was looking at there was still 100%. Let me no, it was on 4 hour. Yep. So you could clearly see, right? So there is still the 100% that's been sitting over here. But so one other thing that we need to note is with this pump, right? So we got a huge buyer stepping in. That's around like 77 million on it, but there is only 424K around that represents the 100%, right? So we're gonna get the minimal pullback on it, but one of the biases that I was creating was based on the higher time frame, right? On the higher time frame, so there were no any buyers stepping it until over here, right? So that means we so there's a decent chance, right? We're gonna come around like 9.5, 9.59 or 8.86. So that was my whole biasness that I created using this indicator, right? And then I did my technical analysis. So I could clearly see over here, right? This is wave one, this is wave two, wave three, four, five. So this is how it's gonna happen. Let me remove everything, and I'm gonna do it from the beginning, right? So this is wave one, wave two, wave three, and four, five. So this is what it looks like, right? So for wave two, I could clearly see this. This has been happening, right? Here it from the pennant and it from the pennant and we bounced her, right? So we could clearly say it's a wave down, B wave up, and C wave down, right? So when A equals to C happens, so the wave two is shared, right? So that means in terms of alternation on Elliott wave, so I'm not gonna go deep on that one. When wave two is shared, then wave four gonna be a quick one. Or wave two is long, right? In terms of time frame, then wave four gonna be short or quick one. So basically, if you guys clearly see it, right? So for wave two from here to here, it took around like 62 weeks to happen, right? Around or 434 days, right? So that means with that math, so this wafer gonna get played out pretty soon, right? So it will take only around like 10 or 12 weeks to play it out. So so that was my whole math when I was looking at it, right? So if you take a look and do the fib line, right over here, yep. This, mhm. So if you take a look on this one, right? So it is well above the 1.618, and then it was forming a kind of divergence on it, and also a pennant for the wafer, right? So and if you go on a daily, right, you could clearly see there's 100% sell off on it. And I could clearly count. So this is A wave, this is B wave, this is C wave, this is D wave. And for E wave, it needs to come down to $7. So that was my whole thing that I did it, right? So I did my technical analysis. I added the confluence of indicator, the PPAVD to build that position. So do you guys have any question on that one? I can give more examples just like on Walmart as well, right? So if you guys have watched the video, so that was the same confluence I created using all those things.
I got a question just on the bars themselves. On the screen at the very bottom there, the red is outweighing the green, but the whole green is still showing buyers at
So
74.366.
which one? Uh,
Very bottom one.
this one or this one?
That, yeah. So like,
Yep.
yeah, the red's outweighing the green there, but the whole thing's still green.
Uh huh. So because the reason is right. So over here, so one of the things that you guys need to understand is just give me a minute. So one of the things that you guys need to understand is so these buyers and sellers, right? So when we bounce from here, so got these sellers are flipped into the buyers, right? So previously when we were trading to this zone, right? So there was a huge seller presence, and we might be thinking that hey, okay, so we can dump her, but instead of that, so these zone or these sellers that turned out to be a buyer, so we got to bounce her. So one other thing, if people are using this indicator for the very first time, right? So I would recommend just going through these numbers before looking at the bars. So that would give the more confluence on it. So if you take a look at the number on this, right? So you could clearly see that hey, so there's a 74.366 million buyers, which is exceeding the sellers by 35%. You could clearly say that, right?
Yeah.
So you could do that because in most of the cases like this, right? So I think I was looking at few of the data points on this one as well. So there are the scenarios where the bar where there are heavy sailors in the system, but it get flipped out so fast that the block could not even catch it. So this is one of the scenarios on Walmart. Do you guys have any question? Any more question? Any more question? So if not, then I will go with another indicator. So I will go with the Neal accusation. So basically, right? So I will not go deep on it one because it's a huge concept that so if you guys want to go deep inside it, right? It's a huge concept called DMARC sequential or the DMARC concept. So I've been reading that book for a while. So I just thought, why not we build it, right? So that was my whole thought process, and I started working on it. So one of the things, really give you guys an example how things works on. So right, so one of the thing on this one, how that works is, so if you guys get a 9p, right, so that means it's a trend accession, right? So if a market is going on one side, and if we get the 9p, that means we are near to the point where the trend is getting adjusted, right? And then if we get a 13c after the 9p, then that means we are confirmed that it's a trend top, right? So that's what you can refer to. Either it's on the short side or in the long side. You guys can know, okay, hey, so if market is continuously going to the upside, right? So at the certain point, it's gonna get adjusted, and when it's gonna get adjusted, right? And when you get the confirmation, so you should be the person to find out, hey, okay, so this is the right candidate for me to short it down or for me to long it down, right? So for me, so I have added a little bit more logic on it, right? So to give you guys an understanding, hey, when to start it and when to long it. So that's how it works. But always wait for the confirmation on this one as well, because this indicator is not a smart one, right? So it just implies all the rules that we have based on the concept of demand. So I think I can show one of the few examples on it on Disney or yep on Disney. So let's see this, right? So when Disney over here, so Disney was falling like a rock a while back, right? And we're trying to so the indicator of the so the demarc indicator, the Neal axis and indicator was trying to find out the point. Hey, so is there a way that we can find the reversal or not, right? So it gave me a 9p, but I never got the long or short on it, right? So like S and L. So if we get the 9p and L or S, that's a confirmation we can go long or short. L means long and S means short, right? So over here as well, so it was just trying to say that, hey, so we reverse it higher from here, and we're ready to roll it down, but I didn't get any confirmation on it because my logic is like, hey, just give me the play that's 100% accuracy. I would not say 100%, only 70 to 80% accuracy on it, right? So but if you're just using it, if you're just trading, right, based upon this indicator, I would start over here on 9p, long over here on 9p, the with the stop below 82, right? So you will get few points on it, and I would go heavy long on it on the 13c. So this means it's a trend reversal, right? But always wait for the confirmation on this one as well. So regardless what you are using, wait for the trend confirmation, right? So I use this indicator to find out the intraday reversal or the long term swing reversal. So for example, right? So there was one stock that I was looking at. I forgot what the name was. But I think this was Shopify or something like that. Yep, Shopify. Yep, that was the one that I was looking at. So if you can see it, right, so it was falling like a rock from 180 bucks all the way to the 20 bucks, right? And if I was just using the indicator with the confluence of PPAVD and the Neal accession thing, I will long it over here. Why? Because the PPAD is showing like, hey, so there's a huge buyer stepping in around like $187 million, right? And then at the same point, I'm getting the 9p on it, right? So that means the trend is existing, buyers are stepping in, right? So now I just need to wait the long to pop up so that I can go long on it. So on the next week, after the 9p, I got the long on it, right? So this is the zone where I'll go long on it. So one other thing that I'm trying to say over here is try to use the confluence from two of the indicators just to make sure that you got the right point of entry, right? Because most of the time, right? So 9p and 9p does not guarantee you that we're gonna reverse it higher or does not guarantee we're gonna reverse it down at so in next few candles, right? So here are the few examples on it as well. See here, we got the 9p and long. So you're just trying to long it out. So it got up down and we come down, we come to the downside, right? So that is one of the examples. So just always wait for the confirmation and use it as a confluence with the PPAVD. So if you do that, so you will get few points. So if you are making a position for the long term swing trading as a stock play or as a swing trading for the long for let's say for like 6 or 7 months, then always use the confluence on it on the higher time frame. Do the same for the smaller time frame as well, right? So one more example why this indicator will not work is if you so on this one, right? So this is why I say hey, always use the confluence on it one. See here, we got the 9p on it, right? And if you guys remember, I was start over here. We got like a nice reversal to the downside, and I think we made around like 10-20% on it, but that was not a good play, right? So we got a 9p, but we never got a shirt on it, right? But if I was using the confluence of DMARC or Neal acquisition and the PPAVD, I would never short it because over here I didn't get the sale volume on it, right? So we have a sale volume over here around like 93 million. That says that hey, if we drop it over here, every drop will be bought it up, right? So we just are marching to the upside now. So I don't know how futures gonna open after that news, but it was a clear story that hey, so from the 9p, right? So we're gonna come to the downside, but this one will be but her. So that was the whole thought on this one if you guys were using both of the indicator at the same time. So did I long it? No. Because why? Because based on my system, I don't long when market is too extended. I was just scalping it the futures or I was just trading it normally like a or just buy at the close and sell at the open. So that's what I was doing it, right? And one of the good thing about this indicator is you could clearly see on the so there is an option or the setting that you guys can move it around, right? So if you guys hit this set of phase, it will give you the actual count how it has reached to that 9p and 13c and everything like that, right? And so I normally take it off because it's so messy on the chart. And also, one of the things that you guys can do is so there is this table at the bottom, right? That will give you all the price target, stop loss, and everything, right? So that is completely based upon the DMARC concept, right? So it will work most of the time, but on higher time frame, it's not perfect. But on shorter time frame, like 1 hour daily, it's working like a charm, right? So if you take a look at it, right? So it entered along over here on 557. So it was targeting 562 over here, right? Over here. So it did that. And then the stop loss was 554, right? So if you guys were playing just on the hourly, you would snipe this one and you would play up to over here. I think it's an extended. Let me do it regular. Yeah. So if you so you would long on 549 and you would get around like 558. So that means you would get around like 10 points, right? Around like 10 points, you would get that one. So if you guys are using the relaxation, just use the PPAVD and the conjunction as well, so that you guys can know when to buy and when to sell at it, right? So that would be the perfect combination when you guys are playing on it. So do you guys have any question on relaxation? Anyone? Okay, guys. So I think everyone understand it, or am I just talking to myself? So So one
No,
more.
I
Good.
understood it, Neil. We are good.
So one more, right? So now the final piece, the Baba sniper. All right. So I'll just do this. Okay. So the Baba sniper is a machine learning algo that I am working on it. Right. So there are a few more features that I'm gonna edit in the future. So as of right now, so it's based upon one of the physics concept, and I'm using like 50 different components. The plan is to increase to 150 so that it can catch and understand each and every component of the market before making a decision. So a huge upgrade on the way, and so the plan is to implement this thing and to grab an option, right? So that we can get the nice entry on option play based on this indicator, and my system will pick up the option as well, so that my system will pick an option that can yield a nice return if we play it right, right? So that's the whole plan, and I'm working on it. I don't know how long will it take. It's a difficult project, so working ins and outs, things like that. So let me show you guys how I use the Baba Sniper. So there are two different modes, right? So the first mode is Patient Assassin. So basically, this one I have created it for swing trading, right? Or if I'm just doing the day trading, I can just take like one or two contracts and I'm just chill out, right, for whole day and sell at the end of the day. So that was the whole reason. So there is that mode. And for hyperactive monkey, it's for like scalping, right? So it's scalping like a crazy one. So I can show you guys a real example, right? So let me take you guys on 1 minute. And so first, let me show you guys on hyperactive monkey, right? See here on hyperactive monkey, right? It will fire so many signals, right? So that means it will take a. So if you guys are day trading and scalping like a DGen, or let's say if you guys are trading ODT, right? That means I would say use the hyperactive monkey, but always be careful. It moves so fast, you guys might not be able to catch it, right? So normally I created this one for the future trading, and normally I if I was just scalping for like 1 or 2 points, I'll do that. But see here, here it was nailing all the moves to the upside and downside, right, in 1 minute. And even when we got that huge drop, so we got the signal before that happened. If you so basically that's the thing of hyperactive monkey. So it's gonna change so fast, you need to be fast enough to catch it, right? But personally, when I'm trading, regardless the future, regardless anything, I suggest you guys use fishing assassin, right, on the higher time frame. So not only that, right, so it will only give you a precise entry. Not I would not say it's 100% precise yet. It's work in progress, because the more we use, the more data it's gonna get, and more improvement we're gonna get every day, right? So if I was just using on 5 minute chart, right? See here, so we could clearly buy it over here, right all the way up to here, sell it over here, and we're good, right? So how would I use it? That's the thing. So let me do this, right? You guys need to have a confirmation still in order to execute it, right? So I got a sell signal. No, I got a buy signal over here. Where is it? On this candle, right? But I never got a follow through on it. So I will be stopped out on this one, on the stop loss. So if you guys are, so I'm just talking for the future trading for right now, right? So normally I use 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and 15 minutes for the day trading. And for the future trading, I'm using 3 minutes and 5 minutes only, because it moves so rapidly that you will lose a account if you are using on the higher time frame, right? Unless if you are trading the macro account or the macro contract. So if I was using, let's say, 3 minutes, right? And let me do this. So one of the thing, right? So it's an algo right? You still should not trust like 100%. When a sell signal happens, right? So what I normally do is let me do this. Right? When sell signal pops up, right? So this is what I do. I draw a line on it, and on a line, right? For me to take this trade, another 3 minute candle need to close over here. It need to close over here. Oh, where is it? It's a rectangle, right? Somewhere. Oh my god, wait, I'm not finding it. There is a rectangle somewhere. Oh, that it's not price level. Not this one. Okay, let it be. So okay, so for me, right? So if I was sorting it, then I need a candle over here on this one, over here, over here. That need to form up so that I can sort it down, right? So if not, then that's a false signal. So I will not be starting this trade because I didn't get any 3 minutes candle close under the signal candle, right? So always wait for the confirmation if you guys are day trading or the swing trading as well. If you guys are waiting for the algo, so if I got the sell signal over here, and if I don't get if I don't get any candle closed below this sell signal, that means that signal will not work out, right? You will hit the stop loss, it will be done. So for me, in order to get the confirmation, right, I always so over here, right? See here, so I will draw, right? So I get this thing buy candle over here, right? Now I'm gonna I'm gonna wait for another candle to hit a buy on it and to see, right, how things gonna work out. Because if you see, we get the buy over here. Now another candle need to open above the close of the buy candle. Then that means I will be executing my trade and have the stop loss below this candle, right? Or you can just put and follow this stop loss as well. But if you guys are trading future, it's gonna be wide one and you might wipe it down. But if you guys are trading the option, then that would be the good option to do that, right? So here now I'm gonna buy 7 contracts, right? So I'm gonna put the stop loss over here on 5947. So let's say wait, yep. So no, okay. I'll be out on this one because no. I'll not be out still because this buy signal, right? So it is still holding that zone, and I'll be out on this one with a loss on it if we close another 3 minute candle beside this, right? So my stop loss on this play would be now move to close of this candle. Give me a close of this candle, right? So if we get the close and open of another candle over here, then I will close out this position. If not, I'm gonna hold this position. Here, nope, I didn't get a close below this candle, right? So I will hold that position and I will still hold that position until right. So here's how I use the confluence until I see a seller popping up over here using the PPAVD, right? So here, wait. So the red dot over here means it's a selling momentum coming up, right? So I will if I was trading it, right, I would put the stop loss. I would put the stop loss over here now, the trailing stop loss, and then I would no, sorry, the trailing stop loss would be over here, and then I would be doing this to put the TP target over here, right? So that's how I do it. So let's say here. So We got the sell momentum with the red dot, and the green dot means the buy momentum, right? But it was just pulling it back, but there was a huge buyer stepping in. Would you sell it the second you see the red PPAD signal come out, or would you wait for it to stay for a set amount of time? I would sell it only if I get the confirmation. I would not sell it as soon as it popped out, right? Because that zone needs to be tested out. That zone needs to be make sure that we are rejecting it or accepting it, right? So we need a proper confirmation if we are trading it, right? So I would always say, right? So use the combination of Baba Sniper, PPAVD, and Neal accusation to find out the correct trend and hop in the trade, right? Before hopping in the trade, always make sure that there is a confirmation that you are looking for, right? Either if you're waiting for the confirmation on PPAVD, make sure that we get a candle close below where that volume blocks come up, or if you are using the Neal axis, wait for the long or short to come in, or wait for the confirmation on that as well, right? And if you are using the Babai sniper, wait for that confirmation as well to come up. Otherwise, right? So you would be buying over here, and you would be selling all your position before it take a trade all the way to the upside, right? So always wait for all those confirmation and use all those indicators in conjunction to add each other, right? So that you guys can have like more confluence on how to trade it. So when I'm trading a future, I just use all those three things at once, right? So that's how I have been consistent for now. I don't know for how long I can be, but I've been consistent enough for now. So
So on that sell indicator right there, you said you didn't get the confirmation. What's the confirmation there?
so on the sell indicator, right? So I didn't get the confirmation because over here, right? So if we are using the PPAVD, you could clearly see there were like a buyer is stepping in now over here, right?
Right.
And then another huge confirmation was like I never get a candle close below this. See here, all the candle were closed above the low of that sell signal, right? So that means that has not been confirmed yet. If we get another candle that has been opened below the low of this candle, then that would be the confirmation of the sell signal. And in that case, right, so these buyers will be stepped out as well, so which will give an extra confluence on the seller as well. So we're gonna get the sell off, right? So
Okay.
so over here as well, see here. So we got so if you guys don't know, right? So when using the Baba sniper, you guys can turn on this thing. So early momentum dots, right? So basically, what it does is it will try to find out, hey, right? So will seller might be stepping in or not before it actually happened, right? So over here, when we get this red dot, it was saying that hey, okay, so there's a high chances that it can get fed up, right? And we got to the downside over here as well, right? See here, it was a high chance we're gonna get bounced, and it bounced, right? And so on this one as well, right? It just show you it will just show you the pre action, but also it's not 100% guaranteed. You need to wait for the confirmation as well, right? So for example, if you guys were trading based on only on this dot, right? I will just put this one. See here, I got the candle close over here, right? On this candle, I got this candle close. That's a confirmation. I'm gonna short it down. Then I'm gonna wait it to retest that zone again. So it was almost there. I will short it over here and all the way to the downside over here. So that's how I do it, right? So now let's say, see here, when we're coming it down, we got the nice buyers on it around like 4.71K, and that represents the 10% on it. So sorry, I'm just having my lunch. So right, so this is the strong confluence to play to the offside. See here, we got the buy signal, right? And we got the confirmation as well. And here, we got the confirmation, right? So I will be stepping on the close of this candle with the stop loss below this one. One of the reasons that why I'm saying this is the strong candidate to play for the offside is because see here the buy came within the zone of used buyers, right? So that means when the algo triggers a long on it, on that scenario, always wait for the confirmation and smash the button. Because every pullback on this zone will be buyable. If you see it, we got pullback over here and it was buy, right? Here it is smashed the TP3. Mhm. So we got the sell momentum, early sell momentum, but there was a buyer that was stepping it in, right? So that means we're gonna get continuation to the upside. Now here comes the front part. So if you could clearly see, there are no any buyers on this week candle. So that means we're gonna come to the downside. If I was playing the shorts, right? So I would short on this candle, and I might not have a good RR on it because if you could clearly see, right? So we got shorted it down with the 9.376K, that represents the 100% of the seller. But over here, there's a buyer stepping in, right? So I would put the trailing stop loss if I was just shorting it based on this one. But I will wait for the Baba sniper to fire it off, right? So that I can have the extra confidence on it. So when a Baba sniper got stuck into the same position like this, right? When the market was moving to the higher side, I can show you on the higher time frame. So like this, or no, which was it is an 1 hour or something like that, right? So like this, right? So when the Baba sniper get stuck into a position, that means the position is so the Baba sniper is still long, right? So I don't have a power or the authority over the indicators to add more than three TP because how the data can be fluctuated on it. So as of right now, so I just added the three more on it, right? So we're trading based on 3 minutes, right? So when you guys are trading on a specific time frame, always get stick to that time frame. Don't ever change the time frame to have a biasness, right? So you guys can do this. So if you guys are trading if you guys are trading on the 15 minutes chart, right? Look for the entry. So for example, if you got a buy signal on 15 minutes chart. So let me show you guys what I'm trying to say. Let me do this. Let me do Tesla for now because the future was a wonky. Okay. Okay, so right, so if you guys were trading based on the 15 minutes, right? Over here, let me do this. So we got the buy over here, right? Here. So I know we don't have a patience. As a trader, we always lose our patience. Not different as well, right? So if I was trading based on the 15 minutes time frame, when the buy signal popped up over here, I would draw the line. Then what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go always do this, right? So always go to the multiples of 15. So that means or the divisible of 15, right? So that means 5. What you can do, go on 5 minutes, right? On that zone, right, you could clearly see it has been consolidated. It's come over here. Then we got the buy signal as well here, right? So if I was trading on the 15 minutes and I was using the 5 minutes as a fractal of 15 minutes, right? Then I would enter over here on this candle to the long side, right? So you guys would get an early entry on that play rather than waiting for 15 extra more minutes. You guys can get the confirmation on 5 minutes and enter into the play. So that's one of the hack that I was saying to a few of the people. Hey, so if you guys are looking for 15 minutes, right, or the 7 minutes, so for 7 minutes, use 3 minutes, or you guys can use the 3.5 minutes as well, right? So the actual divisible part. So, but for me, what I do if I was using the 15 minutes, I would come back down to 5 minutes to to search for my entry. So that would be the perfect entry to find out. And so that's all about the swing trading, right? Or no, for the day trading using the Baba sniper. Let me show you guys some of the example for the swing trading as well. See over here, right? If you guys were using the 4 hour start, regular trading hour. Yeah. So if you guys are using the daily chart, right? So you guys could have entered the on 334 and would get around like $10 or $15. But so for me, I wasn't entering any into the trade because I already had a series, and for me, the Tesla doesn't have a good RR to the upside until it flip this zone, right? So, or what you can do for the swing trading, always look for the 1 hour as well. The 1 hour is a good indication on the Baba sniper to find out the swing trading. So, so over here, right? So if we could have just find out on if we guys have just found out on the 1 hour, right? So there was a long signal on 313. We could have got all the way to 351. That was a good play in there, right? And I was traveling and I missed a lot of action, to be honest. So that's That's what it is, right? But if you guys are using for the swing trading, I always suggest you guys take 1 hour and above time frame, right? And try to build the confluence on it. So for confluence side, always make sure that you guys are using PPAVD and Bawai Sniper at the same time. And also, right? So if we're trying to find out the reversal sign on the trending markets, and use this thing, Neal, right? See over here, uh, over here, yeah. So over here, see, so that it was saying that, hey, we're gonna get much more higher, right, based on this signal, and there was a buyer stepping in, but the Neal was saying that, hey, no, we are not, right? So it fired the shirt on it. It says that, hey, we're accessing it, right? But we didn't get the search signal yet. And over here, the Baba sniper on the patient assassin throws the sell signal on it, right? If we have just played on this one, right, we would have to wait for the confirmation on the smaller time frame. So for 1 hour, I will go to 30 minutes and see for the confirmation, right? We could have got around like or $30 dump on it. It's 35. Oh, no, it's $10 dump on it, right? So that's how I use it. So you guys can use all those indicators at once and build a huge confidence on a trade. You guys like it. So any question you guys have, or confusion, or any example you guys want me to go through?
If you get a signal and it kind of just chops around for a while without giving confirmation,
Hmm.
would you still enter the trade after you get confirmation? Say it's like 4 or 5 candles later, or just kind of sit that one out?
So do you guys see this one, trend and toppiness?
Yeah.
So what I do, so if it's for day trading, I will not enter that position at all, right? But if it is for swing trading, I would consider it if the IV has been settled down, and if the signal is still exists, right? So for example, on Amazon, right? See here, the choppiness was 67.66, right? So basically it's choppy, right? So you guys can ignore that number. You guys can just focus on this thing. The only reason that I like to display the number is because the people can understand, hey, so how the numbers actually work while detecting the choppiness, right? So if I was just using this one, right? So you could clearly see, right? So it fired a buy signal. There is a choppiness in the market, right? The buy signal is still exist, right? So that's, and but we don't have a confirmation yet, right? So what I mean by confirmation, if you see here, right, we never get a candle close onto this one, right? And one more thing is, when we get the buy signal, it was inside the selling block, right? So there is like 11.852 million sellers sitting over there, right? So that means I don't have all the checking that need to be validated in order for me to enter into the trade. So on this scenario, right? On this specific example, I will not be long yet. But if we get chopped around, right? So there's a perspective of choppiness. So when a market gets chopped, right, in a certain area, that means either it is observing a seller or it is building a buyers, right? On this scenario over here, either, right? So this zone need to get flipped out, and we need to get a close above 205 for me to get an entry, or, right, so we're gonna get more buyers stepping in on this top, and we're gonna get a huge prop to the upside on this one. So I would consider that way for me if I was trading it.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Not a problem. I hope my yapping makes sense, because I don't have a habit of talking like this on the microphone or on the voice. So,
No, you're making sense. Thanks.
so do you guys have any more question? So few names that, so if you guys want to go over watch list that I was looking at, I could do that if you guys don't have any question.
Do we do this analysis after the trading of a given day starts, or we do this analysis ahead of time on a couple of stocks that we like? Is
So
that how it works?
you can do any time, right? So there is no
Okay.
restriction that you need to wait for things like that, right? So if you guys know, right, Jazz and I were talking about this thing for a while, right? Does Rose, and in terms of valuation wise, I'm not convinced that it's a 70 or 80 bucks stock, right? And in terms of technical, let me change my layout because I was just doing the bot testing before I was talking to you guys. Yeah, here. So one of the things that I was looking at on this one is this, right? If you guys do the technical analysis, first do the technical analysis, right? To find out, hey, so what the market is doing. Then use the algo. If technical analysis and algo are doing the same thing, then that's a go, right? So for me, when I was looking at the setup, and I could clearly see, right? So this is like a correction phase that we are going through. So we just came to the down. That's A wave, and we B, and we're gonna come to the C wave down. And I don't know if you guys know about the Elliott wave or not, right? So every wave, every move's gonna have a wave, right? And every wave's gonna have like either a 5 waves or 3 waves, right? So so this is what I was looking at. So we got a bounce, right? We got a bounce from here. That was a nice bounce. Then that was, if you guys draw a PIV, right? You see that it starts at 100% perfectly. So that means these move to the upside from 20 bucks was a corrective move, right? So for me, when I do my trade, right? So first I do the technical analysis like this. Then what I saw, right? So when we come to the downside, right? We were not, so the label that it was basing it out, it does not get breached, right? So that means it was a wave one, right? And now we were getting a bounce of the wave two. So when we're getting the bounce to the wave two, so normally based on the concept of Elliott wave, right? So wave two normally can go to 0.2, 0.38, 0.5, 0.618, and 0.786, right? So that's why you guys can see my Fibonacci zone over here, right? So it is almost at the zone where the final target of the wave two gonna be at, right? And at the same time, you could clearly see, right, on a smaller time frame, that zone is also the huge bearish imbalance zone, right? That's where when you get the huge sell off like this, right? So that's an extra confluence. So first thing first, right? So it was a second wave to the offside and almost near to the zone, right? And second thing, we're almost at the zone where there was a huge imbalance and where we got nice rejection on the first wave down, right? So for me, if I'm taking a short trade on it, so that's why I was saying, hey, wait for it, right? So I need to see some reaction over here. That's so that, hey, okay, so this zone is done. And if that happened, then this is gonna come down all the way to over 36, right? And C waves always move on a 5 wave. So it'll come down over here, and then we're gonna bounce, and then it's gonna come down, right? So I think I was talking to someone last week. Hey, so the entry on this one by Algo, I think it's not good, but it's gonna work out, and it will take time to play it out. So we just need to be patient on this one, right? And as always, so always create a biasness using the higher time frame like this one, but look for entry on the shorter time frame. If I was looking for the entry, I'll go on 4 hours or 1 hour for a nice trade, right? So that's what I do. And one more example I can go over through is IWM. See here, so IWM. Give me a moment. Okay, same. I'll go from weekly. Mhm. So the IWM, right? So if you guys are just doing it through the technical analysis, the IWM is at the interesting point where it is ready to for have the structure shift, right? Over here and over here. But there are so many gaps that's been building it out. So that means there are certain level of buyers that has been left out, right? So those buyers need to be or those buyers need to get participated in this rally if we're going to the offside, right? So for me, that being said, right? So we're not gonna get the breakup structure on one shot on this one. We're gonna get the pullback on this one, right? So when you get the pullback, right? I will so that was my first biasness looking at the chart, right? Then I'll go on 4 day, right? And I'll see, okay. So there's a huge structure, right? So if you see, we got the clear rejection over here one time, two times, three times, and we fall down, right? So now what I'm looking at and how did I position for this trade was like, okay, I'm gonna put a stop loss on stop above 210, right? So which coincides with this thing. If you do this and this, right, to this zone. So this zone, right? 211, not 210 exactly. So this zone, right? So when we flip this midpoint, there's a high chance this imbalance will turn into a bullish side. So for me, I was looking at that point. So what I was looking at. So I was betting on, hey, so we are not going to do a structure break, right? And if we flip out this 211, there's a high chances all this TP will be played out. So I was looking at, okay, so if so for me for that to happen, right? So the buyers are so exhausted as of right now, and we need some confirmation or we need some sort of pullback in order for me to get the buyers stepped in, right? So that was the whole thought process while I was working on it. And then I step down on the daily, right? Same thing for the daily as well. See here, right? We got a pullback coming down. There is a huge gap, but on this candle, I think there was a huge buying that was happening, right? And we calm it down and we tested it out this level. But still, for me, I was trading based on the weekly chart, so I was just monitoring for the lower time frame how it is reacting, right? Then at the end of the day on the Friday, I was looking at 4 hours. No, I was looking at 1 hour, not 4 hours. So I saw that, hey, okay, so we gotta buy, we gotta dip down, right? So I trimmed most of my position and I have my 15 position left over here thinking that we're gonna roll it down. We did not. So on that runner, I'm still on a loss, right? And I share my screenshot as well. So over here, when we're marching down, I see there is a 9P, right? So that means it's an adjustment of the trail. So at least we're gonna get the nice pullback. So that was my whole biasness and why I held through it. So with the proper stop loss on it, right? And if IWM flipped to 13 over here on the weekly chart that I was tracking at, right? Or to 11.53 over here, right? If it flipped this zone, then we're gonna go all the way to 230. So no one is stopping it, right? So every stop loss based on the condition that you want to trade it or based on the algo as well. So that's how I create my biasness, and that's how I use algo for trading as well. So, you guys have any question?
No, thank you.
You're saying you may have gotten in early on your bros position, the Dutch bros position. What is your position on bros?
Oh no, I have not. I have not initiated a position on it yet.
Oh, okay.
Because Jazz and I were talking about it, and I'm not so convinced it's about time. So I think it's almost there, right? But still, it's not the time. So for the overall market, so this is what I think. So I'm thinking about 565 as a pullback before going to new all-time high around like 613, 614. But I need to see how markets react on that downgrade. And looking at the Bitcoin, right? The Bitcoin was not giving a single fuck about it. So I don't know how can I relate it. But the thing is this, right? So the Bitcoin, mhm, here the Bitcoin is coming to an interesting point as well. If you look at daily, right, you could clearly see, nice. You could clearly see there is a 100% seller on it. So based on the normal technical analysis as well, without using any indicators, we will be seeing a nice pullback on the Bitcoin, right? So this is my whole thought process. We're gonna come around like 80 and 85 bucks, or 85,000, not bucks. My bad. 80 and 85,000 before coming to the upside, right? Before going to resuming the upside. So if you could clearly see one, two, three, four, five, I could clearly count five waves on it. So there's a high chances that we're gonna get a three wave down. So if we do that, it's gonna be like this: one, two, and three, like this. So if you guys can understand what I'm saying, right? So here, let me do this. We could clearly see one, right? Two wave, three, four, and five. See here? So we could clearly count a five wave to the upside. So now, as a rule of Ilya wave, we're gonna get the three wave to the downside. So the question is how optimal or how big the pullback gonna be, right? So we need to watch that out as well. So one of the thing that I am looking at is Google, and I think the Google is ready for the another great pullback as well. So why I'm saying that, it's here. See it, right? Take this out. In the long run, if you guys are holding stocks or building a position, then it's a nice stock to have it. But for the short term, I think we're gonna get the nice pullback on this one. So for me, right? So let me do this. 3 hours. One, two, three, four, five. Okay. So here's these few buyers that has been left out over here, right? So on this week out, so that means there are buyers. So it's called volume imbalance. If you guys know the concept about it, right? So I'm gonna take this out for now. So so this is what it's gonna happen. Where is it? So here, if we come back over here, right, then I will be a buyer for a long time on this one. But I need a confirmation on this one. But if we lose this level, right, there is nothing stopping Google going over here. So because this zone has never been tested out, that we broke it out as a base, right? So it's at the tricky position right now. And for me, right, the whole market is at the tricky position. So that was one of the reasons that I was not triggering along on it. So, but that's just me. I just love to wait and make a good play instead of rushing on every play to the upside. So, and if you guys remember, right, at the initiation of Discord, we caught the move, but I was so pushy that I sold all my position over here, and I missed the whole move to the upside. And since then, I'm just focusing on the individual name to go long, like Amazon, Walmart shirts, and things like that. So, and another name that I was looking at is MMM. So this looks like it's primed for the upside as of right now. If we flip 154 zones, right? So if we flip this zone, we're gonna go all the way to the 170. So, and I was just looking at the weekly perspective of Algo side as well, right? So it's still long, and there is no any sellers that has been presented on this one. So so that's an interesting name to watch, and also it's making, I think, cup and handle kind of thing on 2 day or 3 day. That's what I was looking at. So if we get a pullback on this zone, right, and on a smaller time frame, so this is what it's gonna be. If you get the pullback, it's gonna come back over here, and then we're gonna go to the upside around over here. So get ready to watch that thing as well. And with the uncertainty about the market, see here the gold. I think we're not gonna get the drop pretty soon. So I think with the uncertainty about all these moody downgrades and everything, and the people moving the money around, I think we're gonna get one more pump around this zone 312, and then we're gonna come down. So, but I try to catch this deep, but get burned by the volume cross. So I'm just waiting for the perfect entry on this one. So we might get the perfect entry on the gold pretty soon. So it's gonna be a nice shirt on this one. So as always, I have been watching Walmart. So there is nothing changed. We sold our most position over here, then we got a nice bounce. So I would consider still this has a more legs to the downside. I'll be waiting for or I'll be waiting to add more position on this one on my existing runners on it and to make it full position. So if this happens, right? So without indicators, so if we count it, so I'm looking for the swipe of this low and over there. When that happen, I would like to have a buyers present in so that it's gonna be a nice long over here, right? So that's one of the name that I was looking at. The name is Micron that I was tracking it down. So so Micron is approaching to the TP one, right? So it's been on a long chop since ages. So Micron is coming to the zone around like 300 million sell off. That represents the 55%. So that's a strong zone, right? So if I just and also coming to the TP one, if I just remove that indicator, no, not drawing, sorry. Guys, if I just remove the indicators, right, I could clearly say this has been firming out, right? And on the market, right, or in the either way, the market always move on the channel, right? So when the channel moves up or down, so it's gonna move on the wave. So one, two, three, come on, one, two, three, four. Have one more left over here. So I'm looking for this zone to come down and to play to the upside, right? So for me, in order to happen that, so there are the two instances that I'm looking at. Either, right, either we're gonna fail gap fill and we're gonna come down, or what is gonna happen is it's gonna come down, you're gonna come down and fill the gap, right? And then we're gonna go all the way to the upside. So this is what I'm looking at. So I am gonna say it all out over here around like 87, 90 bucks to see how things react. So if we get the reversal over here, then this channel gonna get breakdown. If not, um, if, if not, we're gonna get the nice move to the upside. So looking through the algo perspective, I could clearly see that it's gonna come and weak down over here because there's a huge sellers, right? And we could clearly see that this bounce was initiated by 229 millions on it, but this surge gonna get initiated with 280 million. So the surplus of 60 millions on the sellers gonna be a strong one. So in order to fulfill that surplus, they need to come back down and fill this gap so that they can have a they can accumulate the left buyers that they left over here on this gap up. So it's gonna be interesting name to watch on it. And another name I am watching is Nvidia, and I don't know why, but I am so bearish on Nvidia. So it is what it is. But here's few of the reason why I'm bearish on it. You see it, right? We are near to the zone where there has been a huge distributive range on it. So we are testing that zone out. Not only that, on that distribution range, I could clearly see there is a huge sellers that has been setting it up around like 1.397 billion on it, right? So I think Nvidia is ready to die, right? Am I gonna start it? No, because the earning is coming up. But if I get the confirmation after earning with the huge red candle, then I'm gonna start it all the way back to 70, 77 before moving it to 200 bucks. So so that's one of the scenario that I'm looking at. If not, what's gonna happen? If we flip this zone, right, then I'm gonna long it out. So I'm ready for that one as well because if we flip this distribution zone, right, that we got a rejection on few months back, right? So I'm gonna do this. So on the flip of this zone, I'm gonna buy a call targeting 180, right? So that's on hindsight. So I we just need the structure to build out to say it out, right? So one of the reason, not only looking at Nvidia, right? Why I think Nvidia is bearish because I was tracking out this leverage stock as well, right? And you could clearly see, right? It's been on a trend chase as of right now. But one of the things that I was noticing on it, right? So it was coming to the point where there is like a monthly, no, it's a yearly period around like 17 bucks. So as I was saying on Nvidia, right? So it does have a small wiggle room to test out that distribution zone, And when that happens, right? So there's a high chances that we're gonna test it out $17 on this one. And if we hold that zone, there's a high chance that we're gonna get bounced back pretty soon on this one. So which gonna be bearish on this one. So that's my whole thought process on it and how I'm looking at it. And another name that I was looking at is coin. And it's still see here the coin play was banger to be honest, but I only have few shares on it, so I don't have any position or anything like that. So it is also still at the zone where we got the nice breakout, but turns out on the retest it was just a failure. So if we have to go to the upside on this one, right? So we need to make sure that we flip out this zone, only that we're gonna go to the upside. So do you guys have any ticker that you guys want me to go through? I just have like 20 more minutes, 10 more minutes.
AUR. We just had our commercial launch, so things are going
Nice.
pretty well over here.
And this one
Obviously,
made me
not going to share everything, but yeah.
this one made me a lot nice money last time. So hopefully it's gonna treat us good back again.
You always start with the weekly charts when you're trying to look at like swing setups.
I start with monthly
Okay.
and then come back to weekly and draw the conclusion on daily. So if I'm doing that, it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Almost to the downside and go to the upside. So that will be my monthly biasness, right? So one of the thing that I can clearly say that this is the strong support zone, right? And all the weeks that we are seeing, right? So it says that hey, okay, so there's a huge fight between the buyers and sellers. And for me to confirm that, I'll be using this thing, right? Then I'll go deep down, and I could clearly see there is no any sellers present still. Let me go on the weekly. Yep, on the weekly I could clearly see that. So there has been a huge buyers that has been sitting out around with the 65 millions on it, right? So that being said, all the deep toward this zone, right? Toward the lower range of this zone will be buy it out, and if that happens, right? If that happens, then this will happen. If that happens, this will happen. So basically, we will get a nice move toward this upper channel. So get ready for this one, right? To make like a W structures and go all the way to over here. If this happens, right? And if it comes with and looking at the chart, I think we're gonna get the good news on it, but I don't know what it will be. So future is bright on this one.
Yes, it is. What do you think about bonds? TLT. Probably
No
harder to
idea.
do technical analysis on just given all the macro, but I think
Yeah.
they're going to go up a lot at some point this year as the market's not pricing in a recession at all right now, in my opinion. So if we get that, then bonds in theory should go up.
Yep. So if I'm just doing the technical analysis jazz on it, right? So I would be long over here on this optimal trade entry and with the stop loss on 82, because if we lose 82 then it's gonna fall back $70. But if we hold this zone, oh my god, if we hold this zone, then we're gonna come back up to 110. So the question is when, right? I don't know. So I'm not a good guy on a macro side, so no idea, right, how the treasury works. But with this, so as far as my understanding when I was reading it this weekend, right? I might be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But with all these downgrades and everything, I think the people gonna move money towards the treasuries because they're gonna be the safe asset, right? And all these downgrade by the Moody's and the fintech and everything, they are showing that hey, the U.S. economy is fucked for now, and only the good thing that it's gonna be safe for everyone or for the long investor is gonna be a treasury of the gold, right? So that's what I understand it. So, but I'm still saying it. I'm not good at it, so take my word like a nothing. So, but based on technical analysis, so this is the zone that it needs to bounce out.
About NBIS.
NBIS. So this is the chart. Yep. So this is the chart that I was looking at. So when I think there was a news when it dropped, it tested out this trend line, and we fell it down, right? And whoop, which I could have bought it because one of my friend on the Twitter was buying it to hard, and which I would have listened to him, but I did not. So right. So uh it's still for me in order to go to the offside. These don't need to be flipped out. That's $43, and as far as I remember, I see the huge selling block sitting out over there as well, and like 10 million, 100 millions on it. So if that happens, right? So if we get rejected over there, so it's a serious issue because this structure does not look good on the higher time frame, to be honest. So let me do this. Let me do this, right? So I could clearly count it's a one, two. Let me do this. Let me do this. Just give me a moment, guys. I'm just having my lunch while I talk to you guys. So yeah, let me start with the monthly. Right. So this is how I would draw it. So if you guys can could clearly see, right? So I would put a line over here, all the way to over here, here, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find out the multiple conjunction point where it reacts, right? So this is the zone one, this is zone two, zone three, zone four. We flipped it out, but on the retest we filled it out, and this is the zone five, right? So now here's the interesting point. So I'm doing this, right? You could clearly see it retraces the trend line and we filled it out. So now let's come to 2E. Same thing over here. It created the imbalance and we bounced hard, right? Over here. So now the interesting thing is, right? So there are going to be a huge sellers because these sellers are sitting it from the IPO, right? And there is this thing called, if you guys know it, where is it? This is the one, right? Anchor, where is it? Okay. So if you guys know it, right? So this is so if you guys are buying the long term stock, so one friend had taught me this. Use this. So always try to find out the IPO date, right? And then, oh man, why I am having a hard time to find the tools on it, right? Okay. What man? I'm not being able to click it. Why is that? That's interesting. Man, I don't know why. Rob, the trading view is not giving me to. Come on. Nah. Okay. Let it be. So, right. So if I'm looking at the on the brighter side, on the count wise, I could clearly say this, right? So this is the wave one, and this is the wave two, because if you could clearly see, right? So it comes and bands around like this. So I'm gonna put this up. This see here. So it never close out below this zone, right? So that means so if I'm looking for the longer term chart, right, I could clearly say that this. So we're gonna have a lot more room to the upside. But for me, in order to, so it's gonna test around like new all time high back around like 85 on it, right? But for me, in order to go over there, we need to flip out these zone around 43, 44 zones, because the buyers need to show up so bigly that they can flip all the sellers on the lower time frame as well, right? So in higher time frame, you could clearly see there is around like 105 million sellers that has been sitting it out. But in the lower time frame, you could clearly see that, hey, all the trend is getting adjusted. The buyers is getting adjusted as well. So if for me, in order to be a bullish, to say that, hey, we're gonna test a new all-time high on it, this specific zone that is dated back since IPO, right? So which is also considered as a huge resistance zones for now, need to be flipped out in order for me to be a bullish on this one. If not, then we're gonna come one more to the downside. So basically, what I am saying is, so this is wave one, this is wave two, right? So we're triggering it for the wave three, and if the triggers happen for the wave three, what we're gonna happen is like this is gonna be, so this is gonna be the wave one, two, three, right? So we're gonna trigger, this. Come on, where is it? We're gonna trigger one, two, three. So this is one, right? So this one, so we are triggering three on the higher time frame. So inside the three also there is five wave, right? So this is what I'm thinking. This is gonna be one. This is gonna be two. This is gonna be three. This is gonna be four, and this is gonna be five. We're gonna reach over here. So we need to wait for the the, the pullback. I would say on this one. So as we are reaching to the interesting consumption point as a resistance, and also as the integral part of the wave two pullback, that's gonna happen. So that's my whole thought on it. Do you guys have any more tickers? Anyone? Is future open?
Thank you. This was really helpful.
Yeah, hopefully, guys, my yapping session makes some sense, and hopefully, you guys can grab something out of it. If not, just ask me, right? So, have a good week, guys. I'll be posting my morning updates tomorrow morning, and if I find any interesting play, I'm gonna share it as well. So,
Yeah, this was very helpful. Thank you.
mhm.
Yeah, thanks a
have
lot,
a
Neil.
Yep, no problem, boys. Have a good week. Make some money. So,
For sure. Thanks.
Thanks.
see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.